One last kiss before I go. All right, this advertisement at the beginning of the video is for all the super single ladies out there. I would definitely make a risky decision and leave my lockdown position for the right women. Though I've been told I'm shallow because I'm attracted to the most beautiful women on the planet. I mean, and technically, the last person I made out with was Taylor Swift. Yeah, that Taylor Swift. Why would I lie to you in front of a pandemic? I might be meeting God soon. You might be meeting God soon. 2020 is crazy, man. Okay, so a point I've been making out. Wait, no, a point I've just been making is that when Japan, who has 128 million people, got up to 200 cases of the coronavirus and 7 deaths, they shut down all schools. And now we are at 512 cases in the United States with 20 deaths, possibly 21. And our administration is still having a hard time not only passing out the tests for the coronavirus, but giving people permission to pass them out in places where they have the tests and they want to test people. We'll get to that later. You got to forgive me because all this doom and gloom, A, is really hard on my empathy, and B, is like an aphrodisiac. So if any of my crushes are around later, I will do another whiskey parade. Even though I'll probably lose 10 subscribers who are like, how dare you, you alcoholic. Washington State is now reporting 123 cases, including 18 deaths. The second Bitcoin to Bitcoin transmission of the virus has been confirmed. It's down 10%. How do you think Dow Jones futures are going to open? I would guess down, down, down. The weather kids with a Twitter is wondering, I'm wondering at what point the "this is a hoax" people finally get it. Or "but the flu is worse" statement people. And yeah, dude, like, it's very weird. And because, okay, I've told y'all, I think Trump has done a shitty job and he's doing a shitty job. He even admitted that he didn't want to let passengers off the cruise ship because he didn't want his numbers to jump up. He's basically handed all the heavy lifting to Pence so he can gaslight people on Twitter. I mean, he's really good at selling himself, but that's about it. Sorry, guys. That's just the case. We have a basic pandemic breaking out, and he has sowed more disbelief in this being a major problem to lots of people, our health infrastructure, and he gutted the CDC in 2018 like he knew it was coming. And, you know, he's part of the decontrol population plan. I'm not saying that's the case, but it seems like at this point we're way past containment. And so there are really people out there who think that Germany is shutting down, like, its major events with people of more than 1,000 people, that China literally shut down Wuhan. What is it? Italy shut down. You have Japan shut down. Saudi Arabia shut down. All these places are shutting down. You have people who believe that all those places are shutting down to hurt Trump's election chances 8 months from now because it's all hoax. That's crazy. And so now, as you know, we've had 8 weeks to prepare for this. But you know, both sides, and I've always said at THORnews, don't trust politics ever, and you might as well pretend like politics aren't even there. The government's not even there. Someday we will all die, Snoopy. True, but on all other days we will not. I just got a craving for a snow cone. That is all the proof I need that this is spring. Our mayor in Houston, with regard to events and large gatherings, I would strongly advise that seniors with underlying medical conditions avoid them at this time. And information has come out that the CDC and the WHO wanted to recommend that, like a week ago, that we ask anyone over 60 years old to not fly in airplanes because the chance of you getting the coronavirus were high. And Trump vetoed that because he didn't want it to hurt the stock markets. Now, my attitude on this thing, I believe since January 30th, has been that it is a weaponized virus that got out of the lab. It has some weird dark magic / particle collider components to it, and has been treated as, and we should treat it as such until we know better. Former Trump FDA Commissioner Scott Glebe predicted the coming weeks will change the complexion of this country, adding that lockdowns of states or cities are going to need to happen or health systems will get exhausted and fatalities will quickly rise. Because, slowly our government is shifting its tone on the coronavirus as it spreads rapidly. And, we're tracking stats across all countries, and I don't trust any governments, but based on actions, I would say there's 95% chance this thing is real, 5% chance it is the most elaborate hoax in history and like aliens are mind controlling us. Ted Lieu, based on the numbers below, it would appear that currently Italy has a coronavirus fatality rate of nearly 5%. Remember, this thing's probably going to come in waves. Although, part of the reason I warned all February that this was going to be spreading across the United States majorly in March was thanks to Nostradamus. I broke down one of his presages I'll go down probably later tonight in my whiskey parade. But so he said it was going to spread in the proud nations in this month, March. But he says it just disappears in July. So that's a tunnel of light to look forward to. But shit is going to get weird till then. And before this virus even existed, I've told y'all many times before that I have been told by many people, we're talking millionaires and billionaires in the oil industry in person, telling me that if oil goes below 46 for too long, like our entire energy sector kind of implodes in a financial way. And Kelly Evans talking about their projections, oil might go as low as $22, possibly $16, could be even as low as $10. But there are big secrets behind where oil comes from, but I probably shouldn't get into that right now. I'm in enough trouble as it is. Yeah, so Saudi Arabia today closed all schools and universities till further notice. France bans gatherings of more than 1,000 people due to coronavirus. Corey Powell is showing us what happens at the molecular level when alcohol kills bacteria and viruses. It literally causes their proteins to come undone. So when some of these dipshits are making fun of me for drinking whiskey, now technically I'm doing it for health reasons. But remember, the media, who I definitely don't trust, because they're just paid, that's like paycheck people. Like most of the times they just tell you whatever they're paid to tell you. That's why, as your planetary defense commander, I exist on all your contributions and donations, and it works perfect because then I'm responsible to you, the people. Anywho, that's why the whole story, they came out with like 2 days after the virus broke out. They were like, oh, it came from eating bats and snakes, which was just the weirdest shit ever. And then I was like, oh my God, that was like the day. And then when they shit canned Zero Hedge off Twitter, I was like, oh, okay. And then I got 2 people who said it was probably broken out of the lab that I know and trust. Asterisk on the trust part. Anyway, what was it talking about? Oh, yeah. So our experience with this has shown the virus is volatile, unpredictable. It changes. There are at least 2 strains. We've had 2 patients who, within an hour, show no symptoms to going to acute symptoms and then being transferred to the hospital. So I've been doing the best I can to get you guys prepared mentally, physically, spiritually. That, this is going to be the month where we're going to have rolling lockdowns in the United States. I would guess New York would come first because Andrew Cuomo has done the best job of anyone in our country conveying what is going on and the risks associated. And so he's on top of things. And then California and Washington are probably the next. And then my city, Houston, might come soon after theirs. Yeah, Italy is getting hit hard. Oregon had to declare a state of emergency today as they're having cases break out there. It's a weird world, man. The pre-market showing that it could open about, the pre-markets overnights could open up at about negative 646. We'll see, though. Oil is now a bigger problem for markets than the coronavirus. Carl Quintana. Energy is the fang of high yield, accounting for over 10% of the entire market, with extreme stress facing credit is shaking the foundations of the whole financial system. Remember when we had the financial crash of 2008? You know how they solved it? They gave the banks almost unlimited money. So U.S. credit markets have grown from $2 trillion in 2008 to $7 trillion today. And so should things start to fall apart, all the low-rated junk will virtually become kind of worthless again. And this isn't doom, but it's going to get wild, man, and lives are going to be lost. Italian Chief of Staff Salvatore Farina has tested positive for the coronavirus on Sunday. And like Nostradamus said, this is going to hit the highest of the high and the lowest of the low, and everybody in between. And so that's why I've been taking it seriously, and I've been asking you to take it seriously. And literally, both sides have just been dipshits, all like completely. They're still holding campaign rallies. There was a report that came out that someone with coronavirus was at the CPAC Republican thing, and at the CAPAC, the other Republican thing, and that Sanders and Biden are just holding rallies like nothing's happened. Like we're in the middle of a breaking pandemic, and politicians have their heads so far up their asses, and the people who worship them for the last 5 to 10 years have their heads so far up their asses. That's why I appreciate you so much, Asteroid Fight Club. Walter Bloomberg, smoking or vaping could make person more vulnerable to coronavirus infection. New York City Mayor de Blasio. So I don't want to lose anybody. As Planetary Defense Commander, I just like doing a great job. So life is better with you in it. Though I wish everybody would be funnier. I don't know, dude. Our president just talks trash all the time. That's what he's good at. That's all he's good at. Sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That was too far. But he talks way too much trash, especially during a breaking pandemic. And just 3 weeks ago, Italy had just 3 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. Now it has about 6,000. And remember, when Hurricane Maria crushed Puerto Rico, our government told us only 60 people died. And it turned out anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 people died. And so I think the numbers we are being reported, you could actually, at worst case scenario, put a 25 times multiplier to. So right now there could be 2.5 million people known that are infected, and that the death rate is really more 75,000 to 100,000. As you can see, governments are very consistent about not wanting to freak people out. At some point, we're going to have teamwork, community teamwork, town teamwork, state teamwork, national teamwork, because supply chain disruptions will happen and are happening, and that basic needs will need to be met. Food, water, electricity, healthcare for those who are extremely in trouble. Here's a chart showing the 1918 influenza pandemic. One city which did voluntary quarantining, closing schools, bans on public gatherings, versus one that didn't. Philadelphia versus St. Louis. Andrew Cuomo, I'm here for the Northwell Health Laboratory on Long Island, one of the most sophisticated labs in the country. They can start COVID-19 testing immediately, but the CDC still hasn't authorized it. We need private labs like this one to come online, so increase testing capacity. All digital coins as investments are getting hit hard today. And if I had to guess, I'd say New York gets mandatory lockdown orders first, and then comes Washington and possibly California. It could go in any order. And so I'm just saying, just be ready. There comes a time where they tell you you're on lockdown, and you aren't going to get a whole lot of time to prepare more than when they tell you to be on lockdown. Popocatépetl volcano in Mexico has been going crazy, not only all last year, but especially this year. It's stepped up its activity. Washington Governor Inslee says the state is considering whether mandatory measures may needed to contain the coronavirus spread. Elon Musk, jealous that all the attention isn't focused on him, has asked everybody to please buy stocks. A passage from the Sylvia Browne book of 2008 talks about how around 2020, a severe pneumonia-like illness, can't speak, Mercury retrograde, will spread throughout the globe, attacking lungs and bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatments. Almost more baffling than the illness itself will be the fact that it will suddenly vanish as quickly as it arrived, attack again a few years later, and then disappear completely. Now, the Nostradamus passage, as I said, says it disappears in July. So we're not counting on that, but that is a light at the end of the tunnel to look towards, that it is not always going to be this crappy and horrible. And I believe that Asteroid Fight Club if we raise our game, we could make it disappear sooner, because it would best use Jesus magic and science to fight this from hell bitch virus. Head of the CDC admitting we are obviously having an acceleration in cases now, or technically testing is just starting to catch up with the existing cases. And remember, the people who are going to the hospital now caught this thing 18 days ago. So this is going to be coming in wave after wave after wave, in line with it being kind of weaponized, like you get it and spread it for like 2 weeks that you don't know, and then it starts to hit you. And so that's why I've been on kind of lockdown for 3 weeks, but technically I've been locked down in this foxhole for 2 years, just because it's been so weird being me trying to tell you all the truth and work for teamwork and unity for all people. So yeah, narratives are in turmoil, but I'm sticking with the same narrative I've been solidly pushing since January 30th, that this should be treated like a weaponized virus. There's still hope that it could disappear in July or sooner, that you should be preparing mentally, physically, and spiritually for some type of lockdown or a major disruption in your life or lifestyle. I would recommend having 1 to 2 months worth of food on hand. Wuhan, who has been in lockdown, they say they're coming out of lockdown now. They were in lockdown for 2 months. And, 7 years have said pretty much politicians are just there to blame the other side, take all the credit, and then get reelected and make sure the stock markets keep going higher. That's it, bro. Sorry. If you had faith, and this is when you get disenfranchised, but disenfranchised won't kill you. It'll just make you smarter and stronger. But every other country has taken major steps at social distancing with smaller numbers than what we are facing. And so I would guess now we probably have 10,000 people who have the coronavirus and spreading it. U.S. Army has decided to restrict travel of soldiers to and from South Korea and Italy due to coronavirus. So yeah, number one, is this a controlled depopulation event? Number two, is this an uncontrolled depopulation event? Number three, is this a super elaborate hoax? Yay, 2020. Now I guess 85% chance of number two, 10% chance of number one, and 5% chance of number three. And I think it'll really help. The sun itself could help kick this virus's ass when it wakes up. Because I am a firm believer in solar minimums are when empires rise or fall, and solar maximums is when new empires rise. And so things will get better, I believe, when solar maximum kicks in. When will that will happen? I don't know. I'm hoping between now and July. Yeah, the head of the CDC says it's clear. We have a lot of community spread going around. So I am your planetary defense commander. I do a great job. Sometimes, yeah, I compliment myself too much and my ego gets a little big. I try and keep it in check, but I use it like a shield, man. All right. So stay cool. And who knows, maybe in a couple hours, I'll be doing another whiskey parade. If that's going to bother you, A, don't watch, and B, you can unsubscribe if you want. All I do is push for teamwork, unity, and try and put out the best information possible. If that ain't your thing, that's cool. All right. God bless everyone. Stay cool. Have a great Sunday, and I'll talk to y'all in the near future. Peace out. Oh, yeah. Kuwait had to suspend its trading in premier market as its index dropped 10%. So it was limit down, and they shut it down. Our stock market would do the same thing if the same thing happened. I would just say, I guess tomorrow's going to be a down day, bro. Happy International Women's Day. Okay? I love you. Stay cool.